I feel very called to become a member of the Catholic Church.
Love the Catholic Church. It's just the best place to be.
From the studios of EWTN, this is Open Line. In North America, call toll-free 1-800-585-9396. That's 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985. You can also send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Fasten your seatbelts. Our pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan, is in the house. If you've got a question or a comment for Barbara, the number's 1-800-585-9396. That's toll-free anywhere in North America. 1-800-585-9396. If you're outside the United States and Canada, your number is 1-205-271-2985, and we'll put you straight to the front of the line. 1-205-271-2985. Of course, you can send us an email, openline@ewtn.com. You can now text Barbara your question. Text the letters EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response. Type your first name and your question. Message and data rates may apply. I'm Jack Williams. The lovely and talented Rich Jesse is your producer today. As the lovely and talented Elena Rodriguez is on assignment this week. And your call screener, again, the celebrity call screener today is Mr. Tom Price. Our hostess, she is every Tuesday, our very own pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan. Goldilocks, how are you?
I'm very, very good. Yes, I am. Thanks. How about you, Jack?
Good. Interesting we should have you on the day after the first debate.
Yes, but I don't have much to say.
Good. You'll only get yourself in trouble.
I know.
The only thing I'll say about the debate is that there are certain people in the United States of America this morning that should no longer be allowed to call themselves journalists.
Oh, no kidding. No
so,
kidding. Yes.
Where do you want to start?
Well, okay. You know what? Because this is all new information. At least it was to me. And so I would just like to share it. I had David Scott on The Good Fight last Saturday. He's the Vice Chancellor of Communications for the Archdiocese of L.A., and he has written an awesome book called The Love That Made Mother Teresa, about her secret visions. And, of course, we all know about her dark nights from Father Kolodechuk. But what David talked about, it was a new thing for me. He explained the connection between Mother Teresa's childhood and how these experiences she had shaped her views on life and death, which is something that like he said, none of her official biographers even mention, except for one of her critics. One of her critics brought it into the light, that when she was only 2 years old, she lived through Skopje, raping young girls, impaling infants on bayonets, hanging men from trees, torturing hundreds and killing thousands. And it was when she was around 5 years old, she received her first Holy Communion. And she said at that time she felt a love for souls to begin growing inside of her. Well, it's a good thing, because just a few years later, she learned just what that love was going to require. Her father's assassination she had to endure along with her mother. She had to watch her father die. And it was somehow... this whole experience, she somehow anointed in her own tears and those of her mother's as they wept for her father's life that was sacrificed to false gods. So a man out of nowhere, a mysterious priest, showed up to give her dad the last rites, and then he vanished. They don't know his name. They don't know how he became standing right there at the train station. We thought, was he a messenger sent to signal to Mother Teresa and to us that to live our vocation, that sometimes you have to first suffer in her flesh the mortal anguish of a world that refused to believe in the love of God and the brotherhood of man? This is what I didn't know. Keep in mind that Mother Teresa was born of a tiny Catholic minority in a region where Catholics were repressed and persecuted by Muslims and Orthodox Christians alike. So where did God place her? Well, we all know. He put her in a far-off land that was home to a bewildering array of ancient religions, beliefs, and customs far more ancient than her own. And she was sent to proclaim her God to be the one true God in a place where barely, Jack, I didn't know this, 1% of the people professed belief in Jesus when she went to India. Yet she will be forever remembered as Mother Teresa of Calcutta in a city named for the Hindu goddess Kali, one of the most well-known deities among the Asian religions. So where would she be able to start her home for the dying with so much opposition to her religion? Well, who knows what the motives were? I don't know if this was supposed to be like a punishment for her because of her Catholicism, but the Kolkata city fathers gave Mother Teresa a home for the dying right next to a shrine to Kali, where the Hindu Kali priests still offered Kali blood sacrifices. No longer of strangled humans, okay? They grew out of that, but from the slit throats of black goats. And this shrine was right next to a virtual funeral pyre called Kalighat, where day and night the bodies of the dead are wrapped in white linen and consigned to the flames, and then they're reduced to ash, of course, and then they flow into one river which leads into their sacred river, the Ganges. Now, to completely understand how prophetic this was, we have to know what Kali was all about. Have you heard of her before, the Hindu god?
I have not.
Okay, I did not know that much about. I've heard the name, and Kalighat was, a shrine to her. A Hindu tantra portrays Kali in this way: she stands in a boat floating upon an ocean of blood. The blood is the lifeblood of the world of children that she is ever bringing forth, sustaining, and then giving back. She stands there and sips the warm, intoxicating blood drink in a bowl made from a human skull that she lifts to her insatiable lips. This idol is one of the most famous Hindu gods. It's terrifying. She black as soot, eyes wild, tongue lolling, dripping with blood, wearing a necklace of freshly severed human heads, carrying a cleaver and noose, posed in a feverish dance. And Catholic priests, Kali, forget it, what I just said, Kali priests are said to have murdered St. Thomas, remember, the doubting apostle, by running him through with a spear in AD 72 after he called Kali's cult devil worship. So thousands come to the shrine at Kalighat, begging Kali for prosperity, a mate, children, and more, and they cry out, "Mother, oh mother." Now here's the part. This would have completely scared the bejeebers out of me, Jack, but Mother Teresa thought this was all very prophetic, and guess what? She named her new home for the dying Nirmal Hriday, place of the Immaculate Heart, in honor of Mary, the pure-hearted Virgin, who by the power of God's Holy Spirit became the Mother of Christ. So we have the image of the humble maiden Mary alongside the violent mother deity whose cult historically demanded child sacrifice. So here's Mother Teresa, right at the place where Hindus worship their mother goddess, would be able to show all the world the face of its true mother, the Immaculate Virgin who became the Mother of God, who was assumed into heaven and became the Blessed Mother of all nations and peoples. This whole journey for Mother Teresa led to her views on abortion and assisted suicide. And I'll close now, but I got a lot more to say. Divine providence, my point, is always at work in every life. And this is what formed Mother Teresa's views on abortion and euthanasia.
Just getting started on an open line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan. Straight ahead, we'll talk to our friend Connie in Norman, Oklahoma. We've got plenty of time for your phone calls at 1-800-585-9396. Open line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
I think there must be a contest going on to see who can wear the least and get away with it. And some of the shapes that wear the least, if I had those rolls of fat, I would hide it. I'd wear more clothes. I wouldn't wear less clothes. And those tight pants. You ever see those tight pants? They look like they're poured into them. I wonder how they get them on. And I've often, I've kind of meditated on that, and I thought it must be painful to... And I've often wondered, does excess fat roll up? Does that roll up when you're pulling that? It has to go somewhere.
For more information on Mother Angelica, visit Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
The National Catholic Register is America's most complete Catholic news source, with a comprehensive view of the world from a distinctly Catholic perspective. For the latest issues, people, and events shaping the world as we know it, visit ncregister.com.
It's the start of a new day for Morning Catholic Radio.
Be wise about who you are, understanding your weaknesses, and avoid those people, those places, and those occasions of sin. That's one of the things that we say in our act of contrition. Realize you are weak even if you haven't done that sin for a while.
In the recovery community, we put it this way. You have to find new playmates and a new playground.
Amen.
Morning Glory, Catholic from the start. Weekday mornings, 7 Eastern on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
Hello, this is Bishop Robert Baker from the Diocese of Birmingham in Alabama.
I'm Peggy Normandin, but you can call me Catholic.
Hello, friends. This is Father Wade Menezes of the Fathers of Mercy. Thanks for listening to the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
We're excited to welcome another new station, now part of the EWTN radio family. Hello to everyone listening on FM 104.9 KEUC Eucharistic Radio, serving Ringwood, Oklahoma. Congratulations, how am I doing? To our good friend Jeff Fennell and his hardworking team at our longtime affiliate, Oklahoma Catholic Broadcasting. Again, welcome to all our new listeners hearing us on FM 104.9 KEUC, serving Ringwood, Oklahoma, the newest member of the EWTN radio family. And we're going to go straight to Oklahoma Catholic Broadcasting. Connie is in Norman, Oklahoma, listening to us on Oklahoma Catholic Broadcasting. Connie, thanks for holding. You're on with Barbara.
Hi, Connie.
Barbara. Hi, Barbara. How are you?
Great, thanks. How can I help?
Because I'm leading 40 Days for Life here in town, they've asked me to come speak to the youth group at one of the churches. And I need your advice on how graphic, how should I approach it? How brutally honest should I be? Should I be gentler with these kids, or do I tell them the...
Okay, these are kids you're talking to, teenagers?
It's a youth group, like junior high through high school.
Okay. That's wonderful, and I'm so excited that you were chosen to do it. I'm thinking to myself, I would ask the youth ministers or youth minister, whatever, and find out how much they already know about abortion.
Okay.
Because before our kids, at least in my neck of the woods here, before our kids get into high school, they... in the schools that I go to, they know all about abortion and what it looks like and everything like that. So it wouldn't be... They
already know.
They already know, yeah. And are most of them high school students, or would you say more junior high?
I'm honestly not sure.
Okay. I would just kind of pick the brain of the youth minister for a while and see. And let's see. As far as what you would say, well, you want to be truthful.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what abortion really is and what it does. I mean, it's critically important. Let's see, what I could do is I could send you a couple of my talks if you want me to do that and see.
That would be outstanding. I'm doing it on Sunday. Can you email them to me?
Oh, sure. Give my producer or call screener your email address, and I will send you some of my talks.
Okay, and one other thing.
Yes.
I talked to you several months ago, and you had asked me to check into Save the Storks. And I've done some investigative work, and from what I can find, except for the fact they're not Catholic, they seem to me like to be a fabulous group and very. I mean, they're doing great work.
Now, refresh my memory. I do remember the Save the Storks idea. I had never heard of it before. I think the first time you called, right?
Right.
What do they do exactly?
They get these vans and they fix them up really nice, and then they work in conjunction with a crisis pregnancy center.
Oh, yes.
And they park outside either a Planned Parenthood or an abortion clinic. They use the ultrasound from the crisis pregnancy center, and when the girls women come up to the Planned Parenthood or abortion clinic, they're oftentimes confused as to where to go, and sometimes they'll go in to Save the Storks, and they'll get the ultrasound and go, "Oh, I'm not killing this baby." And sometimes the abortion facility works in conjunction with them, and if they have a girl who's really not completely sure that she wants to go through with the abortion, they will say to her, "Why don't you go over there and talk to that Save the Storks van and before you make a decision?" So sometimes they actually work together.
Wonderful.
And they're really good about going to college towns and
yes. Okay.
So
that's
I
like
fabulous.
that's that's like our Light and Life out here.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They do that. I mean, I'm on the left coast, but I mean, they go to all the beaches. They even go to shopping malls and everything.
Oh, wow.
And and they save all kinds of babies and moms, because you don't save one without saving the other, right? I mean, they work together. No two closer people in the world than a mother and her baby. They're not adversaries. Not at all.
Right.
So we'll keep up the good work. Give the call screener your email address, and then I'll search. Now, here's the thing. You have to do this on Sunday. I have to go out of town tomorrow morning, so if I can't do it tonight, I'll do it when I get back on Wednesday night. Is that okay?
That's fine. Absolutely.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you.
God bless you.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. 1-800-585-9396. Next up is John in Bagley, Minnesota, listening to EWTN on Real Presence Radio. John, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, John.
Hi there. Hey, I just got what kind of a question and a major statement. The Bible proclaims that Christ was conceived by the Holy Spirit. That was in the Bible, right?
That Christ was conceived by the whole overshadowed. Yeah, he overshadowed. Yes, at the Annunciation. Okay. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it is a fact that so life as far as Christ started at conception then, and not at the second trimester or anything.
Of
so
course.
How can any Christian ever say that abortion is okay? That the fetus is not live till later in life, when they perform abortions.
You tell me, John, how can they? I've been trying to figure this out forever. That's exactly right. And when our Blessed Mother at the Visitation went to see Elizabeth, because the angel told her, the angel Gabriel, that her cousin was also pregnant, of course, with John the Baptist, that is when this little baby, when the Blessed Mother was walking into the room, he leapt in the womb of Elizabeth. The first evangelist was St. John the Baptist. And there they were, the first community, the first Catholic community right there. Beautiful, huh? Okay. Christian community, I should say. Okay.
Sure. Okay. But then go on farther, abortion, as people say, well, woman's choice, life doesn't start till later,
Right.
But Christ is the teacher, so I think we got to pay attention to that aspect. But even if you jump on that bandwagon, well, I don't think it's life till 12 each or whatever you want. That's an arbitrary figure. So if you say that, if you're off a week, a day, an hour, a minute, even a second, you proclaimed Christ's crucifixion, and this way. I don't understand why church media doesn't get out and explain this to people that, hold it, you'd be crucifying Christ if this is the case.
Well, yeah, I mean, church media, you said? Because we talk about this all the time on EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. we're always bringing this
I'm
forth.
hooked into you. But I mean, I never heard it explained that way. I've heard it, like a Polaroid picture, and that's got to develop. But just what happens if he's off a second? You actually proclaiming the crucifixion of Jesus.
Well, it's really sad that this is the way people can look at it too, because it's all about a right. See, to kill your baby has become a right to choose. And this is the sad part of it all. And I was talking about Mother Teresa at the top of the show. What I didn't know is that when she was about to give her Nobel Peace Prize speech, she was actually prepped by her colleagues to talk about the nuclear arms race and neo-imperialism in the third world. Instead, what did Mother Teresa talk about? She spoke from the heart. I just told you about Kali, the Indian goddess with blood dripping from her hands, mouth, and everywhere else. She spoke of the heart about the Kali-esque, a direct war, a direct killing, a direct murder. See, because these were how her views on abortion and contraception were definitely there right from the earliest days of Christianity. It's really kind of a throwback. Abortion, birth control, and infanticide were as old as the world, practiced in every culture and religion of the ancient East, and justified, this was new to me too, it was justified in the West, even by great philosophers such as Plato and Aristotle. So then Jesus entered the world. From a mother's womb, he took children into his arms, right? He said that his kingdom belonged to those who could become little children. Talking about us. And from the beginning, Catholics always took their Savior's love for children and family life seriously. Always. They saw abortion as an abomination from the get-go, from the Didache. In their oldest writings, outside of the Bible, they called it child murder, and they said it was part of the way of the Black One, one of their names for the devil, as well as for Kali. So it's just something that people don't seem to, and when I learned this too about Mother Teresa, her fellow Catholics thought she had a strange fixation in an age with no shortage of atrocities and all kinds of injustices to horrify the conscience. I mean, think about it. They wondered how she could single out abortion in a time of gulags, concentration camps, ethnic cleansing, suicide bombers, and even world poverty. They thought, what is up with this lady? But what she saw was their indifference to abortion as a symptom of a culture under strong delusion, she said, of a people whose hearts had become a valley of bones. And it was laudable that so many Americans and Europeans were concerned about children dying of starvation and disease. Remember, in India and Africa and other places? But Mother Teresa could not understand why so many of these same people who were all ready to jump in there like the gates. They were unmoved, these same people, by the plight of the millions. This is a quote from Mother Teresa that I'm going to give you right now. The millions who are being killed by the deliberate decision of their own mothers in their own countries. Because Mother Teresa knew the answer. Abortion brings people to such blindness. And that's what you're talking about right now, John. People who will to disbelieve about the unborn child in the womb. So, and she didn't mince any words. But here's another thing. Mother Teresa said abortion was the mother of all issues. Okay? This is what we've been teaching on EWTN all the time. It's the mother of all issues, of every violence, and of all poverty. She said nations who destroy life by abortion and euthanasia are the poorest nations. Quote of hers, for they have not got food for one more child, a home for one old person, so they must add one more cruel murder into this world. Thanks for calling, John.
And in Dallas, you're up next, and we've got plenty of time for your phone calls at 1-800-585-9396. Open Line Tuesday with Barbara McGuigan.
From EWTN News Nightly in Washington, D.C., I'm Brian Patrick with your EWTN News Link. The candidates clash in their first presidential debate. Donald Trump calls Hillary Clinton a typical politician, saying she has experience, just bad experience. Clinton suggests Trump doesn't want to make his federal tax returns public because something he's hiding. Syrian state TV reports government forces are advancing in the northern city of Aleppo. The report says troops are moving toward a central rebel-held neighborhood. Recent airstrikes on eastern parts of the city have killed scores of people. Homegrown attacks inspired by violent extremists are as much a threat to the U.S. as those directed by terrorists. That from Homeland Security Chief Jay Johnson testifying today before a Senate committee. Pope Francis says silence and prayer is the way to overcome our darkest moments. He warns against resorting to pills or alcohol to escape our woes. His comments during his homily at morning mass at the Santa Marta residence. Watch EWTN News Nightly tonight.
The EWTN home video highlight for September is In Memoriam, Mother Mary Angelica. Special live shows and short programs. The people who lived and worked alongside Mother Angelica gather to share their most cherished and poignant memories of her in this 4-disc collection. Order your DVD set at EWTNRC.com. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Or call 1-800-854-6316.
If you're currently an EWTN media missionary or just interested in becoming one, we've got some great news. EWTN Media Missionaries has a new and improved website. EWTNmissionaries.com, designed with you in mind. Our new site is loaded with great features and it's easy to navigate. There are so many different ways that you can help EWTN. Join us in sharing the eternal word with the world. Visit EWTNmissionaries.com today.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
You know, one of the things I love about being Catholic is the great treasury of prayers that we have that have been passed down through the ages. And whenever sometimes I'm tired or feeling a little bit down and I don't really have the energy to spontaneously come up with a prayer of my own, I love that I have this treasury of prayers that I can fall back on at those moments. And tonight on Mother Angelica Live Classics, Mother Angelica talks about the beautiful prayer, the Anima Christi, and that's tonight at 8 Eastern on EWTN Radio and television. Back to the phones we go. Ann is in Dallas, Texas, listening at EWTN.com. Ann, thanks for holding. You're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hello, Ann.
Hi, how are you?
I couldn't be better. How about you, dear lady?
Well, I'm doing well, thank you, but I needed someone to talk to. My son is 44 years old, and he's an alcoholic. Of course, he doesn't know that. And the worst of it is he's been diagnosed with an inflamed liver.
Oh, sure.
Continual drinking of alcohol is just going to make it worse. He has to stop. But he thinks that all he has to do is lose weight and drink moderately. Well, that's not going to happen. So I don't know what to do. I mean, yes, I pray a lot. And I've surrendered him to God, but it's like, is there anything that I can do here on this earth to change, help, whatever the situation? I'm beside myself.
Well,
see, my sister 2 years ago lost her daughter at 45 to alcoholism.
Oh, goodness.
So it's just looming over me.
Yes. I know how hard that is. And your prayer, of course, is you're like St. Monica, right? I don't know if St. Augustine had alcohol, but I don't think that was his major problem. But here's the thing. Do you have other family members that you could have an intervention with?
No.
You don't?
No, I don't.
Have you ever contacted Alcoholics Anonymous?
I'm going to Al-Anon.
Okay, that's a very good thing. That was going to be my next question.
No, I've been going to Al-Anon meetings for a number of years because his father was also an alcoholic.
Yeah,
so,
sometimes it can be a genetic thing. We have a couple in my family, a couple of my brothers, and it's so difficult. I mean, I know what you're going through. It's very, very difficult, and they'll stop for a while, but you have to. But here's the thing. Does your son have a spiritual life? Does he go to Mass every Sunday at least?
No spiritual life.
So he's trying to lick the world by himself, right?
Yes. And so he licks it by drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. I want you to look up.
Licking him.
Oh, they think they have the world in the jug and the stopper in the other hand. I mean, they really do. I know how it works. I would talk. Have you ever heard of Venerable Matt Talbot? Talbot?
No.
Okay, well,
I've heard of him.
Venerable Matt Talbot. Do you have internet access? Can you look him up?
I do.
Okay.
I can and I will.
Do that because he is just a wonderful Irishman a long time ago who was also an alcoholic, and how his mother prayed for him just like you, and prayed for him and prayed for him, and boy, he kicked it because he got back to church. So I think that's the first thing that you need to kind of zero in on is his spiritual life. I always love this quote that Matt Talbot gives us. He said, 3 things I cannot escape. And this is what influenced his decision to stop. The eye of God, the voice of conscience, and the stroke of death. In company, guard your tongue. In your family, guard your temper. When alone, guard your thoughts. This was kind of like his mantra, his game plan, whatever you want to call it. But I think it's important. Once he thought about the eye of God and the voice of conscience and the stroke of death, he wanted to get back to God, who would be welcoming him with open arms. Open arms. And then Matt Talbot was the one for Alcoholics Anonymous that they used his kind of protocol in all of their discussions. You know, Matt Talbot played a role in that too. So try that next. Try that next. And have you ever talked to your son about how sad you are that he's given up God, basically?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
That's a good thing. And he's given up his medicine. I mean, if he doesn't get his medicine, you say, oh, what's that? What are you talking about? The body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ is what he's given up when he gives up church.
I have talked to him. I've talked to him even before this. I knew he had a drinking problem, and I would say things here and there. And then when this liver thing came up, he's like, okay, dear God, that's answer to my prayer, because now he's going to have to face it.
Yeah,
and face it, he's not.
Just don't give up. Don't give up. Keep praying and keep dropping little seeds for him. But read about Venerable Matt Talbot, and maybe you can find him, because they do make them little medals of Venerable Matt Talbot. And also, I would put a green scapular under his mattress where he sleeps.
A green scapular.
Yep. Get the Blessed Mother on this.
Rosary of the Night. Beautiful rosary. And I asked him, I said, all I ask is you keep it on your nightstand and touch it. Just touch it and say Jesus.
Well, that's a good idea as well. Our Blessed Mother is so very powerful before the throne of God. She's the most powerful intercessor. So keep up the good work and let me know how it goes, all right?
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless you. Bye-bye now.
Next up, Newport News, Virginia. Lynette is in Newport News, listening on Sirius XM Channel 130. Lynette, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Lynette.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thanks. How can I help?
Good. I don't really have a question. I just more so have a comment. I was just flipping through my Sirius radio and came across your discussion about pro-life and pro-choice and things like that. Just wanted to share my story. I have 2 children, and right after I had my first one, over right about 20 years ago, that's how long it's been, right after I had her, within a year I was pregnant again, and I did have an abortion. It was a hard decision to make, but what a lot of people I find don't get is I think a lot of women, when they go to have abortions, have already been through so many different options. I doubt very seriously that a woman wakes up and says, tomorrow I'm going to have an abortion. It's deeper than that. And what I think the pro-life movement misses is that there is so much more. For instance, I can get pregnant and I can go to a pro-life place and somebody can say, we can help you out. And then while the baby is cute and little, there's all kind of help. People want to help. But now I have a 10-year-old who needs more than I possibly, let's say I could give her, but there is no resources. The church does not offer those type of resources. Where are the same programs?
I don't know. I don't know, Lynette. I don't know. I mean, you can get resources for a 10-year-old. I mean, they have all kinds of government programs for sure,
I'm not talking
right?
about, I'm not even talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about the male role model. I'm raising her on my own.
Oh, okay.
Male role model.
Without one, and that's it. That's the big problem, see?
Exactly.
This is why sex outside of marriage is not good. Because the question is always asked, what happens to the baby then? What happens to the baby?
Exactly. That baby grows up and you have great pregnancy homes and you have great single parent things and for new babies, but that thing grows up. And where are my spiritual resources then? It's all good when the baby is little and crying and you buy a little onesie and it's cute and some diapers and some bottles and a couple of classes, but what happens when it's 10 or 12? And I remember when I had my abortions, those were the things. It was not the same person that the first child was with, and it was not there. It wasn't positive. It was so I knew that he was not going to be any better for this one than he was for the first one. And
but is it better that he's? Would it be better to kill him though? No,
I'm not saying that it's better.
No, my goodness,
those are decisions that moms think of when they go. And I was reading something online that they were throwing little fetuses at babies and all kind of stuff at the abortion clinics. I saw that online, and I'm like, this is not the way to reach out to people. It is not.
But here's the thing:
people are hurting.
Okay, I so get you. I get what you're saying too. And here's the thing: you have to consider, do you have a spiritual life? Because your child can go up. There are many schools that would make an allowance. Does he go to Catholic school? Are you Catholic even?
No, but this is the thing. This is not necessarily for my situation.
It's for your 10-year-old. Okay, but that's what I'm talking about.
No, I'm not saying this is, I'm not talking about it for my situation as far as I need help with my child. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is when you think of people who are, it just seems so callous that people think, oh, they're going to kill their babies or they're murdering babies. It does boil down to that. But for the woman who has to make that decision, it was God awful for me to make that decision 20 years ago. It was horrible.
I hear you. I hear you. But here's the thing.
There's along the lines of the future of my child.
Well, here would be the best thing, and I'm sure you would agree with me, rather than abort this child because you're thinking you couldn't give the best for him, he won't have a father, and all the other things that he will be denied. You can always place your child for adoption. You don't have to raise your child. Nobody has to raise their child if they don't want to.
Of course, we know all those options, but I'm just giving you another option because a lot of people act like.
Well, they act like it because it provides.
They've never been in a situation.
Yeah, but Lynette, it provides a good excuse. It provides a good excuse. And it's not good enough for God. That excuse is not good enough for God.
No, actually, for me, I'm not saying it's good enough for God, but thankful that God is forgiving, and I have a relationship with God, and He's forgiven me, and I felt peace 3 or 4 days afterwards. I've never cried since I've had a couple of days afterwards. I don't. I feel sad. I don't feel guilt when I think about it. I learned.
But you wish he had a father. You wish he had a father.
I don't wish he had a father. I wish I didn't have to go through that situation. I wish that I knew beforehand.
What situation are you talking about? The abortion?
Getting pregnant. Not the abortion.
Oh, well, this is
beforehand that if I didn't live that lifestyle, then it wouldn't happen. And it did not do anything to prevent it because 10 years later I was pregnant again without being married. But I knew what I wanted to do.
But see, now you know. Now you know, and now you can be a voice for what it means to be pure in mind, heart, and body. And then you don't set yourself up for such difficult situations, right?
Another thing I wanted to share is my aunt. She's huge in the pro-life movement in Maryland. And
really?
She doesn't know that I've had an abortion, so my name I gave is not the name, so just in case she's listening. But when I was pregnant with my now almost 10-year-old, and she sent me a card, and in the card she said, "Thank you for choosing life." It was the most, you could have gave me $1 million, and it wouldn't have moved me as much as her saying, "Thank you for choosing life." Because what people tend to forget is that you do choose life, and it's not always the easiest option. And that's what I want everybody in the pro-life movement to realize. That
okay, but you do choose life, but not when you abort. You're not choosing life when you abort. Sometimes they try to twist that a little bit and make it look like you are doing the best for the child by killing the child because you don't have the circumstances, the situation to support this child. That would never fly. That would never fly. And that's what sometimes they do. They twist it. That's never a good option to kill your baby. There are plenty of places that will help you. And if you become a good church-going lady and get your son into the scriptures, and if you're not Catholic, take him to church and let him see he can grow up to be a wonderful young man. You see, and you'll do the best you can for him. Try to find him a good male role model that he can have in his life. See, long before a woman commits a spiritual abortion, her spirit submits to murder. That's not good.
Thanks so much for the phone call, Lynette. God bless you. 1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. 1-800-585-9396. Open line Tuesday with our own pro-life warrior, Barbara McGuigan.
It's new. It's Catholic. It's live from our studios at Christ Cathedral. Call Me Catholic with Peggy Normandin. A full hour of talk, interviews, and commentary on faith. Celebrating, exploring, and restoring our Catholic identity in a modern world. Call Me Catholic every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
The EWTN Book of the Month for September is Crossing the Goal. Danny Abramowitz's story of redemption, forgiveness, and God's power to heal marriages will make you laugh and cry and inspire you to grow in holiness. It's available through the EWTN Religious Catalog web store, EWTNRC.com, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or call 1-800-854-6316.
This is Open Line on the EWTN Global Catholic Radio Network. If you have a question or comment, call 1-800-585-9396. Outside North America, call 1-205-271-2985 or send an email to openline@ewtn.com.
Coming up at 4 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio, Cresta in the afternoon. He'll talk about last night's presidential debate, Al will. And at 6 Eastern on EWTN Radio, Catholic Answers Live, open forum Q&A. Patrick Madrid in hour number 1, Tim Staples in hour number 2. Next up is Dolores in Garden City, Michigan, listening to EWTN on Ave Maria Radio.
Hello, Dolores.
Dolores, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Oh, thank you so much for your show. It's wonderful, and thank you for taking my call. I started out with one question, and now I have a comment about one of the other callers. What is the title of the book that you were referring to at the very beginning of the show?
Okay, it's called The Love That Made Mother Teresa by David Scott.
Wait a minute, David Scott, S-C-O-T-T?
S-C-O-T-T, that's it. Right, it's a
Love That
brilliant
Made
book.
Mother Teresa.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Now the question, and not the comment I have, I heard about the lady, and you're telling her about Matt Talbot. There's also another venerable, Alfred Pampalon, Pampalon. He's a Redemptorist, and he died in 1896, and he's kind of one of the patrons at St. Anne de Beaupré's in Canada, and he's for addicts and alcoholics also.
Already, I've never heard of him. I'm so glad you let me know that. That's super.
That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dolores. God bless you, dear heart.
You too. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
1-800-585-9396 is our toll-free number. We've still got plenty of time for your phone calls. 1-800-585-9396. That's the number Ann used. She's on the road in the great state of Louisiana, listening on Sirius XM Channel 130. Ann, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thank you. I'm glad you called.
I was just calling kind of in response to the last caller. I got pregnant in college, and I had a lot of pressures like her, single mom. Parents told me have an abortion, all of this stuff. I had family pressures to not have my son from every which way. No one wanted me to have him. And I turned to God, and I said, I'm going to do this, but you have to help me. I had never had a job before by myself, like anything. And I'm now an assistant DA lawyer, and my son just started college, and my life is beautiful. We had a lot of rough times, but God got us through it, and it's the best decision I ever made.
Oh, of course it is. And how beautifully you cooperated with the grace of God. See, when I hear things like this, but you know, especially when you even had your family against giving life. I mean, my goodness, you chose life and you saw it through, and God gave you everything. Did He not? Did He not give you everything, to every bit of supply you needed to raise this child?
Everything and more, and I couldn't have drew a better child. Everyone says they don't know how I got such a good child. He's wonderful. I mean, he's very spiritual. He doesn't drink. He's not a partier. Like, just the best kid ever. I truly feel blessed in that God helped me through all this by myself. So,
and as my 90-year-old mother would say, why wouldn't He? You know, God wants us to be fulfilled. He wants us to be whole, but we have to trust in Him and trust in His will. And you're a blessing. I'm thankful that you called. You have a great testimony. Give it. God wants you to give it, no doubt. I'm sure you do, right?
I do, yes, ma'am. He blessed me, and I'm very thankful. That felt like I had to call in and say, you know, I was all alone and turned to Him, and He got me through it. So,
amen. You know what my mom always said with 11 kids? Every baby brings his own sandwich. Because, isn't that cute? Because God does provide. She's a great Irish lady, and that's how she talks all the time, and we get the biggest kick out of her. Every baby brings his own sandwich. And you think, well, my goodness, with 11 kids, sometimes times were hard. Not often, but sometimes they were hard. And, you know, she would always say to us before she would leave for the hospital, I'm bringing home another person to love you. So she has such a way about her, and we couldn't wait to get our hands on this new little baby. And, you know, it makes you pro-life. It makes you pro-life because you see how unique, distinct, and unrepeatable every single human being is. You see that. So, Ann, I'm glad you called. Thank you so much.
God bless you, Ann. Appreciate the phone call. We'll head now to the state of Ohio. Katie is in Ohio, listening on 88.1 FM. Katie, you're on with Barbara McGuigan.
Hi, Katie.
Hi, I just have a little short comment.
Good.
I was diagnosed at 15 that I would never be able to have a kid. And my husband and I struggled with this for 2 years. Finally, taking it before the Lord, came to adoption. And we waited for 2 years for our baby. And it was a baby from a mom who was unwed, didn't have a plan to have a baby, and she was a drug addict in jail. And so I just kind of want to give that other perspective of being an adoptive parent.
Yes.
And women who are potentially maybe getting an abortion, it is a really hard struggle And all of us adoptive parents understand that struggle, because we struggle kind of with the same thing of not being able to have a kid and having those different desires that God has put in our hearts. And so what you don't see, though, in a lot of pro-life things is the desire in the adoptive parent's heart, and when that desire is fulfilled, how beautiful that untraditional family can come together, not just with the adoptive child and parents, but even with the mom who may want to stay in the situation and see her baby grow up that she can't necessarily take care of.
Yes.
And
no, it's a beautiful
desire
thing.
Can be filled so beautifully.
Yeah, you're so right. It's the most unselfish act a mother could do for her child, is to choose life and place the baby for adoption. The baby belongs to God. You'll never hear me say, give your baby up for adoption. The baby belongs to God. It's not ours to give. We place the baby with a mother and father in the best situation possible to thrive. And I'm thankful that you didn't carry this baby under your heart, but you carry this baby in your heart, right?
Yes. And I have no idea what I would do without my daughter.
Amen.
And
Amen.
If her mom would have had an abortion, I still wouldn't have that piece of my heart fulfilled.
There you go.
That's just kind of a...
That's it. Adoption is it. Adoption is it. No one has to raise their baby if they don't want to. You can place your baby for adoption. In fact, because many of our young little gals now want to keep their babies. Sometimes they're in good situations to do that, which is fine. Sometimes they're not. But the thing is, there are lots of babies that could be adopted but aren't now because the young moms want to keep them, in my experience anyway, with counseling. So, but thank you, Katie. God love you, dear heart. Thank you for calling the show.
God bless you, Katie. 1-800. How am I going to give the phone number out with 2 minutes left in the program?
I don't think so.
Rich is shaking his head, looking at me as though
like,
I
you
had
crazy?
just fallen off the turnip truck. And you know what? Quite frankly, he's right. Barbara, thanks for as always for being so gracious with your time.
Thank you too, Jack.
We are back at it again tomorrow. Father Mitch Pacwa will be in the house talking church teaching, scripture, ancient languages, and the like. Father Larry Richards talking the new evangelization on Thursday, and Friday our own Vice President of Theology, Mr. Colin Donovan, will be in the house answering your questions about theology. On behalf of our host, Barbara McGuigan, our producer, Rich Jesse, call screener, Mr. Tom Price, I'm Jack Williams. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your Tuesday to join us. Back at it with Father Mitch tomorrow. Until then, God bless.